Hello and welcome to the Planning Pundit with me, Linda Wright. As you will have seen from the front screen, this is episode 15. It is all about serviced accommodation. Now, you might ask, I've done serviced accommodation before. Why am I doing it again? Well, this week or last week, days blur into one. So there has recently been an announcement by central government that there is a new consultation out with regard to service accommodation, tourist lets, holiday lets, whatever you want to call them. This consultation is to look at whether there should be a new planning use class for serviced accommodation. Now, if I can just say, I've been banging on about this for a couple of years now, that there ought to be, there's use class C3, which is obviously a single residential house or a small HMO. You've got use class C4, which is your small HMO, a defined co-living, if you like. Then you have use class C1, which is your hotel bed and breakfast type of use. And then you get some councils who will require that your service accommodation is a sui generis, falls in the sui generis class, and therefore requires planning permission. There is no specific use class. I've talked about use class C5 for ages now. So it looks like, not that I'm putting myself out as, some kind of advisor to the government, although, if they want, I can make myself available. Anyway, so there is a consultation paper out from the whatever the government DCMS consultation. No, it's not DCMS. It's levelling up. It's the levelling up. And the reason I'm getting confused with that is because there is also another consultation that is out. We're knee deep in consultations with planning at the moment. There's about 7 of them out at the moment. The Department for Culture, Media and Sport have launched a separate consultation about a new registration scheme for short-term lets, the likes of Airbnb, that type of thing. So what service accommodation providers, and if it's your strategy as a property developer, you are going to probably, and the terms of it, I'm not going to talk about it in detail because it is purely a consultation at this time. And I'm very wary of the fact that consultations and draft bills always change. There's always something that goes awry and somebody argues about and they get changed. So there is there's a consultation out that this should be a register for all short-term lets. Read for that, Airbnb and the type of serviced accommodation that a lot of property investors and developers are now using. So that's Culture, Media and Sport have got that out. So that's a register for serviced accommodation. This current consultation now talks about having to get, and it talks about ultra flexible short-term lets, having to get planning permission for these ultra flexible short-term lets. And mainly in, and this is what the consultation says, it may change, mainly in tourist hotspots. And the argument is that in tourist hotspots, such as, this doesn't apply to Wales, this is just England, such as Cornwall and all the beauty spots in the tourist areas, the locals are being priced out of the market because property investors are coming along, buying up the houses and renting them out for short-term lets, and they're pricing the locals out of the residential market. So from that point of view, this is one of the reasons. Obviously, central government have been lobbied. The planning changes. Now, I'm not entirely convinced about this. Asking that planning applications be submitted for these short-term lets. local governments are already groaning under the workload that they've got, and to add this on top, and that they require to learn a whole different set of rules and regulations and legislation, I'm not entirely convinced that this is the right approach, but we'll see what the responses to the consultation are. So there's likely to be, and it's not been done yet, there's likely to be a change to the use classes order, another change, and it's been changed quite a bit recently. Change to the use classes order. You're likely to have to get planning permission, but just to make things a little more complicated, they're also talking about new permitted development rights, which will mean that planning permission is not needed in areas where local authorities choose not to use these planning controls. So I suppose for areas which are not tourist hotspots and the council's local planning authority consider that this is not a problem for them, they can just waive it and say, do you know what, you don't need planning permission, you can just crack on with it. So it's going to be a bit like the Article 4 direction areas for HMOs and the Article 4 direction areas for conversion of Class E to residential. So it's adding another, in my view, another complicating layer to the planning system, mainly because there is this problem of the Airbnb type of use, and I don't just mean Airbnb, but the short-term let, holiday let, taking residential dwellings out of the market, pricing them out of the market. Locals can't afford them, and it is creating tensions. So from that point of view, that is what we're currently looking at with this consultation. I'm fully of the opinion that it will come in some form. Whether it will come in the exact format as is set out in the consultation is yet to be seen. It will depend on what kind of responses, and whether or not the central government take any notice of those responses, because in fairness, in some instances they have just set things aside and cracked on with things. So that is a heads up. It's a red flag waving exercise to let you know that this consultation is out there. It's not come into force yet. There's no need to panic if you are a serviced accommodation provider, but just to let you know that this is on the cards, and if you choose to have a look at it, then have a look on the .gov.uk website and just put holiday lets planning permission and it will come up. So I hope that was helpful. This is episode 15, serviced accommodation and planning permission. My name is Linda Wright. I'm the planning pundit. I hope this has helped you. I will leave it there. I rattled on for long enough. If you do like these videos, please like, share, subscribe. Let's get them out there. Let's hopefully stop people from making horrendous mistakes and getting into terrible trouble with planning, because a lot of people then come to me after the fact and it's a bit too late. So I shall see you on the next one, which will be episode 16. What will we be talking about then? I don't know yet, because it depends on what's going to come up this week. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope to see you next time. That's me, Linda Wright, the Planning Pundit. Thank you.